Drivers, well, that was sensational. The new 911 lives up to its expectations. I've got a few things to report. Wider front track is absolutely awesome. Really like that. It's only GT3 spec. That's how wide it is. It's the widest truck we've had on a 911. And I love the moisture sensors that they have, which is in the wheel arches for detecting slip, and the ESP and the traction control, all those stability systems work really, really cool, I must say. It's the best system I've ever felt in dampage conditions, so I can't wait to get it on a full wet track as well. Everything else, interface is very different, obviously, different rev counter, you know, the selector is very, very different. The louvers, we've got some automatic louvers with different sport modes, so lots and lots of cool features. Longer wheelbase as well for higher, you know, if you want to do 330 kilometers an hour with this baby on the Autobahn, it's going to be very, very stable. So all things another step forward on the previous generation 991. It's now time to bring on a couple of gentlemen that have a very, very instrumental part in this car and also in previous generation 911s. But for the sexy body lines and the interior, I'd like to welcome on stage head of Porsche Style, Michael Mauer, please. Hey, mate. Hey. Michael, Ferry Porsche once said, quote, "The perfect car doesn't exist, but as engineers and designers, we must do everything we can to get closer to this ideal." How the hell do you redesign a Porsche 911?
Let's say, since my boss is sitting over there, I would tell you...
Looks like there's
really,
a few of them.
Yeah, but this is really one of the hardest jobs you can have in the car industry. But I mean, designing an icon, and this is not just an icon, it is the icon in the car industry. And yeah, as I said, a pretty hard job, but looking at the car so far, I'm pretty happy. And yeah, what did we basically? We just cleaned the surfaces and straightened the lines.
A little bit of 70s though? Talk about that. There's a little bit of a 70s theme in here, right?
Yeah, I mean, whenever we start with the job, we have a discussion what is really the, let's say, the characteristics we would like to achieve. And then we said the car should become more muscular and should look more compact. And we looked at the history and found out that the 930, the first turbo, is really the car that inspired us a lot with its extended wheel arches and this narrow waist and this very expressive Coke bottle shape. So that was really the car we had all the time with us in the studio.
Sounds cool. Little pit stop with you, please, Michael. I want to introduce now an individual that's had, I mean, he's got one of the best nicknames ever. Can you imagine having a nickname called Mr. 911? I mean, that's a pretty cool nickname, isn't it? 15 years he's been involved in the last 3 lines of the 911. Please welcome on stage August Achleiner. August. I want to bring you to the rear of the car, please, August.
Yeah.
Because we know the Porsche 911 has always been rear engine. Goes against a little bit of weight distribution and all these things, which I know a little bit about, but in terms of the icon of the 911, it's always been leader of class, leader in its segment, and this beautiful balance between track and street. But what have we done, and how's the focus still going to make sure that we're still on pole position when it comes to rear engine high performance street cars?
Yeah, sometimes people say in the past, well, that's the biggest disadvantage of this car, the weight distribution, because the engine is in the back of the car. But in my opinion, it's the biggest advantage of the car, because the whole thing, here in German we say, here plays the music in the 911, exactly in this range.
Yep.
Here's the engine, here's the gearbox, here's the rear axle, now, by the way, with 21-inch wheels.
Yeah.
And you still have luggage compartment, and you can put your children here inside. And be honest, I got 2 kids. In the meantime, 2 engineers working at Porsche, and they grew up exactly here.
Oh, there you go. Good homework. Good R&D project.
Yeah.
Michael, August just quickly mentioned about the wheels. So we're 20 on the front, 21 on the rear. I know you designers love big wheels. I like big wheels too, but they've got to be functional, right? I mean, in terms of aerodynamics and also rolling resistance. What's the idea around this wheel combination on the new generation car?
with the power and performance of this car, you know very well, I mean, you should have good aerodynamics, otherwise it becomes more kind of airplane. So I would say the tricky thing was that we wanted to keep the surfaces very clean on that car. So I think it was more challenging for the aerodynamic guys that they had to do all their arrangements, let's say, invisible. And yes, it goes without saying, I mean, designers love big wheels. But in that case, even the guys from the chassis department were, let's say, in the front line, because they had to make sure that the car gets the power on the tarmac.
Yeah.
And we didn't argue, so we...
No, I'm happy. I like the 21-inch rear tyre. It looks good. August. Yeah. Oliver Blumer mentioned in his speech about the software and the special wet map systems that we have, which I was with you a few weeks ago only testing that on the PG track, which was very impressive. One of the most advanced traction control systems I've ever experienced in my life, including racing. Quickly just run us through why and how we got to the solution on this car.
Well, you know, a sports car is not just a heavy car, it's quite a light car, but simultaneously it's equipped with wide tires. And this combination, not such a heavy car, wide tires, and then maybe heavy rain, very much water on the road, is not such a good combination. And we wanted to improve the behavior of the car during these conditions, and found out of our pre-development a new wet mode. And the spectacular thing is the car detects by itself, by sensors within the wheelhouse, how much water is on the road.
There's a sensor in the wheel arch, right?
In the wheel arch,
yeah.
Yeah. And depending on the frequencies these are caused by the water, the stability systems adapted to these conditions, especially ABS and traction control, and simultaneously it shows to the driver, please put on the wet mode, and when the driver does it, then the spoiler comes up to produce more downforce, and when you have a C4 model, there's more torque transmitted to the front axle just to keep the car as stable as possible. But I have to mention one thing. You should not switch off your brain. It's still up to you to have the perfect speed under these conditions.
That's what the racing drivers do.
Absolutely.
Racing drivers switch their brain off. I think that's a very good system for the UK because it rains there all the time, doesn't it? So that will work well. Michael, is it possible to quickly show us through? No. I just want to have a quick look through the interior. That's okay. You want to do the yellow one? Let's have a look in the yellow one.
Because the yellow car is...
It looks nice. Let's do the yellow one.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to have a look through why and how Michael and his team will put the ignition on so you can have a bit of a look at the lighting. Run us through the streamlined dashboard you have here.
Yeah, I mean, for us at Porsche, the driver is always in the focus of our job, and it's really, we try to arrange everything that the whole user experience and user interface really supports the driver driving. And again, the tricky part was balancing this, what we called to create this analog precision in combination with this digital experience. And I think we found a pretty good way. You have this very sophisticated touch screens on one hand, and on the other side, you have as well just very traditional switches.
When designing the car, who is the driver you had in mind?
I mean, there's not one special person. That's more different categories. You know, person that just enjoy easy driving and enjoy the look of the car. Then you have people using the car as a daily driver, take the car over the weekend on the road trip, and then you have, let's say, the really ambitious drivers that are even able to drive the car up to the limit. Maybe like former Formula One drivers, maybe like Alain Prost and these guys.
Yes. Well, there's a long list. They all have them. They all have them. August, it's the last generation car that you're going to work on. So I imagine this is a car that's extremely close to your heart. So what's your feelings on working on this model line for the last time?
It's always a a very exciting moment for me to present a new 911, and the first one which I presented had been the 997 several years ago. So it's the third generation I present and will be my last, but I'm completely happy to present it here, especially in California, because here, in my opinion, here are the biggest Porsche fans and 911 fans all over the world with this density of fans here. So it's a really pleasure for me and an honor to present this car here. And well, now I have to say, just have fun with this car.
Absolutely. Well, your team have done an absolutely incredible job. I think that, as you said at the top, it's a very, very tough project. And also I want to add that never at any point have we had more females driving 911s when it comes to elegance and power and timeless style. Good. This is what we have, and we have Maria Sharapova here, our brand ambassador, so it's nice. Please give Maria a round of applause. So it's a car for everyone, and yeah, thank you very much, guys. If you want to take a seat, and
thank you.
See you at the bar, I think.